Good evening, everyone. If I can get y'all to come into the sanctuary, we will be starting shortly. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can I have you to have a seat, please? Good evening. Can I have you to have a seat, please? Sir? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming this evening. Give yourselves a round of applause. Michelle, if I can have you come forth. We want to be very mindful of your time, so that's why I'm asking you to have a seat, and yeah.
Thank you. Just wanted to start and introduce our moderator for this evening, Vicki Williams Collins. She is the Social Action Chair, Newport News Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. And then we're going to start with the rules for this evening, the ground rules. So first, there will be no substitutions or stand-ins for the candidates. Any candidate withdrawing from the forum before the event must notify Vicki, but it appears all candidates are here. The first portion of the forum will be dedicated to answering questions posed by the moderator. The second portion will be dedicated to answering questions from the audience as facilitated by the moderator. Questions from the audience will be in the form of written questions on note cards collected during the forum and presented to the moderator. If a question from the audience is directed to one candidate, all candidates have the prerogative to also respond. Each candidate will have up to 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond to each question posed by the moderator or audience. The moderator may offer a 30-second rebuttal at his or her discretion. This time limit will allow for the maximum number of questions. The forum will end in time for a 1-minute closing statement from each candidate. Time limits on responses will be strictly observed. A timekeeper will hold cards visible to the speaker indicating how much time remains. There will be a yellow warning card shown with 15 seconds left and a red stop card shown at the end of the allotted time. When the stop card is shown, the speaker must end his or her speech. Our timekeeper for this evening is Latoya Bidding. The candidates for City of Newport News Treasurer will present from 6 to 7 p.m., and the candidates for Treasurer are expected to be in place by 5:30. Candidates for City of Newport News Sheriff will present from 7:15 to 8:15 p.m. Candidates for the City of Newport News Sheriffs are expected to be in place by 6:30. The audience will be asked to refrain from applauding or in other ways demonstrating support or non-support for a candidate. There will be a table for campaign literature. However, candidates are asked to remove literature when they depart. The candidates will not bring props, charts, displays, posters, visual aids, laser pointers, etc., and will remain seated at the dais for the duration of the forum. The moderator will introduce the candidates using titles of office as appropriate. Thereafter, Mr. or Miss will be used. The moderator will have the authority to interrupt the proceedings to enforce the ground rules. The moderator may restate a question from the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, Vicki Williams Collins.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'd like to invite the candidates for Treasurer to come forth. That would be Justin Kennedy and Sanu Cooper. And if you would just have a seat, and the mics are behind you. And what I will do is I will start from my left and go left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left. And I just want to reiterate, I ask that you refrain from showing support or non-support for each of the candidates, please. So I will start with Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, what is your specific plan to improve the efficiency and timeliness of collecting city revenue, including taxes, fees, such as vehicle licenses and stormwater fees and other assessments? Mr. Kennedy.
Good evening. I'm so happy to be here. I'm very excited about this opportunity. My wife and I have an extensive career in technology. We were able to make all kinds of training simulations with companies like Canon and Cartoon Network. So we believe that we'll be able to use technology in order to make it easier to pay taxes online. There are a lot of digital ways that we can do this, and we believe that we're able to do that by able to funding some of these things, by creating a system that we can raise money so that we can get a lot of these things done. We are a business owner. Like I said, we have been in business over 20 years, and my wife and I were able to retire 17 years ago from making video games and animations. So we believe strongly in technology, and that we believe that we can use technology to make the systems of the Treasurer's Office a lot better. We also are very into people. We know that the team at the Treasurer's Office is really good. We have a really good, solid system in place. I do think that we can enhance it again by leaning into technology and also making sure that our seniors are not left behind because they don't appreciate technology the same way. So we have to be very vigilant in the way that we do these things.
So, Ms. Cooper, what is your specific plan to improve the efficiency and time revenue, including taxes, fees, and other assessments?
Good evening. First, I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Sanu Jane Cooper. I am a mom of 3. I am a wife to a 2-time war veteran, a proud graduate of Hampton University with a degree in finance and banking, and most importantly, a social justice advocate and warrior. To help with the improvement of collection in the office, I believe that our taxpayers need someone that's going to advocate for them. Engagement is not something that we have seen out of that office, and so want to engage our residents in the process of what it means to pay your taxes. And I believe that if people know where their taxes are going in the city, they're more inclined to want to pay into the system, right, to see the wonderful things that we're doing here in Newport News. Another way to help with collection is the education piece. With financial literacy, make sure that our residents are budgeting and saving so that they can make timely payments on time, but then also know what their options are in the Treasurer's Office. Most people pay twice a year, not knowing that you can actually set up a payment plan and pay monthly so that it works for your household budget. And then third, elevate the office with technology. Many of you have heard me talk about this during the primary, and I would say probably the innovator of talking about a point of technology for the office with an app. I believe that we can engage residents with an application that can remind them when their payments are due, how the office functions. Most recently, City Council just changed an ordinance around the vehicle license
Thank you so
fees.
much, Ms. Cooper. Ms. Cooper, can you provide a detailed example of a large budget or investment fund that you have successfully managed or overseen, and how that experience directly translates to the required duties of the Newport News City Treasurer?
So for the past 14 years, I've worked at Transitions Family Violence Services managing a multi-million-dollar budget. With those funds, I had to be accountable to city, state, and federal partners that required transparency for every dollar that was spent. Every dollar had to be audited and reinvested back in community. When we think about the Treasurer's Office, it's not about making profit for people and making profit for corporations. It's not a business deal. It is managing public funds. And we need a treasurer that has experience working with the public and managing public funds to ensure that there is transparency, accountability, and most importantly, accuracy, so that we can continue to move our city forward and develop the things that we know that are needed to meet the needs of our seniors, of our children, and of our families overall, as well as our businesses.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kennedy, can you provide a detailed example of a large budget or investment fund you have successfully managed or overseen, and how that experience directly translates to the required duties of the Newport News City Treasurer?
Thank you. My experience largely lasts in one law. I practiced law for many years in New Jersey. And then my wife and I formed a company, as I said, and we started making video games and animations. That process is a process of creating funding, For instance, just to go a little bit deeper, as an entertainment attorney, we had film projects where you have to raise a lot of money. Millions and millions of dollars for films. For video game projects, you have to raise money and you have to manage money. So we were able to do those kinds of things and be innovative to do those kind of things with major companies. And that's why my wife and I were able to put up over $100,000 of our own money to fund this campaign, because we believe that a treasurer should have their own treasure that they know how to protect and that they know how to grow. We've been very successful at managing our funds because we've been able to be retired for 17 years. And so we really would like to teach the citizens of Newport News financial literacy, because so many of our citizens do not have a pathway to legacy, and that we think that's very important for us, particularly in the times that we're coming here today. So my strength is in business. Even though I do collect the beans and I do count the beans, my strength is really making money and being able to manage teams. So that's my strength in the processes, in the different projects that I've had and different work that we've done. I've managed teams from 25 to 50 people and even 100 people to put together projects. And these are what my strengths are, is making the money.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, how would you balance the need to aggressively collect delinquent taxes, such as real estate, personal property, to ensure fairness to all taxpayers with compassion for residents facing economic hardship?
So this leads back again to my need and want to focus on the financial literacy piece and the community engagement piece. And these are things that are outside of the duties of the treasurer. The treasurer's job it's a big duty to collect all the taxes within the city and manage them and make sure they are invested properly. But I do feel that our citizens need that extra engagement. They need that extra financial literacy so that they can grow and be strong. Again, I really believe, and it really hurts my heart, to be honest, that so many of our citizens don't have a legacy to pass on to their children. So me and my wife have been blessed by the grace of God to be able to be successful, and we would like to share that. And that's why we decided to run, for this level of public service just in general. So, and then to go, I'll leave that there for now, but I'll tell you more about things later.
Ms. Cooper, how would you balance the need to aggressively collect delinquent taxes, real estate, personal property, to ensure fairness to all taxpayers with compassion for residents facing economic hardship?
So that requires advocacy. Again, my experience over the past 14 years, I've been advocating for individuals and families and working with our businesses here, most importantly to change laws in Richmond, right? To work with our legislators to let them know what is happening, boots on the ground, what are the experiences of our constituents, to ensure that we are changing legislation that benefits us here. And so also with that, I think that looking at the policies and revisiting how they are working for us, looking at the penalties that are imposed on our families is also going to be really important to ensure that we are not pricing folks out of the city, right? And so we just want to make sure that that office is not seizing, leaning, and garnishing from folks, that they understand their rights in the office. We also want to bring a level of care. I think that that is truly important, and my record also shows that. Also, for a point of clarity, I appreciate that my opponent has invested money into his campaign, but I want to make it very clear about what the Treasurer's Office does. Managing your own personal funds or your campaign is very different than managing millions of dollars in the public office. It requires transparency and accountability, and it is my hope that through our financial literacy that we're educating folks so that when they retire permanently. They don't have to go back into the workforce, which we've been seeing because people can't afford to live their lives and they're dealing with inflation. And so with that financial literacy, again, I think that's also going to help folks be able to pay their taxes on time, understand that there is a level of care that's in the office to ensure that people can sustain their lives.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Cooper, what is your view on the role of the treasurer in the city's overall financial planning and budgeting process, and how will you communicate with the city council and city manager?
So the treasurer's, another role of the treasurer, for a point of clarity, is to be your advocate at the table with city council when they are developing the budget. The treasurer's responsibility is to collect the funds so that we're ensuring that there are enough funds for the city council to plan what is needed for the city. And so as we have planned and talked about having town halls, regular conversation, it's the first E of our triple E's, with that level of engagement, being that voice for you at the table to say this is what is working for our taxpayers and this is not what is working. I'll give you one example. I talked to a volunteer first responder who told me, why is it here in the city of Newport News, I can't get tax relief and I'm volunteering my time? That's one less salary that we have to pay for a first responder for someone volunteering their time, and I do believe that that is a person that should get some tax relief. We should also look at our educators. We should also look at our seniors and look at how we can do a cost analysis for that to see how we can afford it and still move our city forward. Advocacy is going to be the big piece of that. Another point of advocacy is working with your state legislators to ensure that when we are looking at the property tax rates, that we're able to renegotiate that and make it more affordable for you right here in Newport News. And so that is the role of the treasurer, someone that has been a proven advocate, and again, I've been doing that for the past 14 years, not something that I'm just doing now and putting my hands to the plow, but something that you have seen me do and something you can also verify, and not just taking my word for it. You can talk to the individuals that I've worked with. Keisha Brown, a mom of 3, Anika and Adrian with Gifted Enterprises.
So, Mr. Kennedy, what is your role, your view on the role of the treasurer in the city's overall financial planning and budget process, and how will you communicate with the city council and city manager?
You know, the city treasurer is the bank of the city, so I have to have a great communication with city council, with the mayor, and all the other leaders of the city so they know exactly how much funds we have and the proper way to invest those funds. One great reason to have a great relationship with the people on city council and with our mayor is because, for instance, we have seniors. Many of our seniors, their houses are assessed in a way that they can't afford to make payments anymore. Some of our seniors have homes that they may have purchased for maybe $100,000, and now they're worth $300,000. And that would sound great if you were trying to sell your home, but a lot of people aren't able to make ends meet because they're not able to pay these new assessments. So as your city treasurer, I will be able to lobby on behalf of our seniors in Richmond to see if we can do something about this. This is not, when I'm standing at the polls all day long, and we stand down there for 9 hours a day, I hear from a lot of seniors that really have this problem. So I think it's very important for us to have a strong relationship, to be able to move things through city council. Many of the city council members I know, many of the city council members I've actually helped to get in office through media. I've helped them raise funds. So I have a great relationship with our city, and I think it's very important to move things forward because there are things that need to be changed here in the city to reduce taxes and to make things more affordable for people, but we have to lobby to get that done because the treasurer's office itself doesn't have the power to do these things.
So I want to ask, both of y'all have given some personal examples, and I would ask moving forward that you refrain from naming anyone that you want to give a personal example about, because we're talking about what the role of the treasurer is. I want to kind of go into something that both of you had kind of gave an example of. I apologize, Mrs. Cooper, let me come to you. You had mentioned something about about a gentleman who was volunteering in a role, and how you could see how this gentleman should have an opportunity to have his taxes reduced. Now, both of this office is a constitutional office, which means it has to adhere to code. So share with me your idea and how code would support that.
Absolutely. So the first step in that, it's a constituent's concern, right, an idea. So we would have that conversation with the constituent. We've already had that. The next step would then go to the government and finance. For those of you that don't know, Vice Mayor Curtis Bethany has started a government and finance committee where himself, the city manager, budget finance staff from the city, as well as the commissioner of revenue and the treasurer sit down and talk about the cost analysis and financial implications of any changes. Then after that, we would look into an ordinance change, which then would go to the entire city council, right? This just happened with the vehicle license fees that were just recently changed. Once city council then says, yes, this is a tax relief that we think that we could institute, then we would move forward. We would also then want to go and talk to our state legislators to see if there's any parameters or changes that we need to make there, because here in Newport News, although we are building and working through breakthroughs, we also want to be a leader in the state about what is possible. With affordability being an issue for so many families and individuals, we want to be on the forefront and want to be innovative about what can happen. As those of you that work in Richmond and work with the code, we know that it's old and stale, and we're trying to make as many changes as we can. And so we have to be innovative in doing that and bringing those fresh ideas. And again, that's exactly what I've been doing for the past 14 years, working with families right here in our community, looking at laws that exist and changing them, tweaking them, or creating new ones with our legislators that work for everyday folks.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. So, Mr. Kennedy, you had kind of talked about what your view on the role of treasurer and how you would communicate with the city council and the city manager. You shared how you have worked on these campaigns. I would ask that you go into a little bit more detail regarding how you might be able to work with them involving making any innovative changes that you may want to share tonight.
So, you know, I do have a good relationship, as I said, with many of the people on city council, and I will say that my strength is more on the business side. There are a lot of things that we need, and I definitely would want to follow every rule that's necessary. But I do believe that we can raise money for a lot of our different offices. For instance, the way that the Police Foundation raised money for the police department, I believe that there are innovative ways that we can collaborate with City Council. Yes, I would like City Council's support if we have some innovations that we'd like to have in the office, or maybe even to be able to give our staff bonuses and things of that nature. But I believe that I can bridge the gap and be a better partner with City Council instead of just asking them for things. I'll be able to bring something to the table as well. So that's what I think is important.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Kennedy. So, Mr. Kennedy, the Commissioner of Revenue assesses the taxes and the treasurer collects them. How will you ensure seamless, effective, and transparent communication and collaboration between these two separate constitutional offices, sir?
So I'm really excited again, you know, not to be redundant, but my strength is in technology. And I believe that if we work into technology, and I and the Commissioner of the Revenue, and not just the Commissioner of the Revenue here, but the Commissioner of Revenue in Hampton, the Treasurer in Hampton, and in our region, if we work together, we can really focus on the financial literacy piece using social media, using podcasts, using all kinds of new ways to get forms out. Today we have a lot of people in this room today, and I believe they're probably live streaming this too. These are the kind of things that the treasurer needs to do to get the word out. I believe that we have to lean into this because when I'm at the polls, a lot of people are saying that they don't know what's going on, they don't know about this forum, they don't know who our candidates are. So when dealing with our taxes, I think we can be very transparent in terms of leaning into technology, using it to get the word out, but again, not leaving our seniors behind because, again, a lot of our seniors, they don't love technology. They're not following the pace of it, so we have to make sure that we reach them also.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Cooper and Mr. Kennedy, both of you have spoken about technology and modernization. So, Mrs. Cooper, what I would like to ask first to you, what steps will you take to modernize the Treasurer's Office technology to reduce wait times, improve the customer experience, and streamline processes for obtaining licenses and making payments? And are you aware of what technology is already in place and what you may do to elevate that?
And so again, many of you have heard me talk about this application that we can create in the office. I think that's something that's on the more user end that will make it more efficient for folks to make their payments. Currently right now, people use a Dropbox to also make their payments. Not too many people use that. We would like to look at some more efficient ways that you can drop off your taxes. I know that when it is time to pay taxes, lines are long and you have important things that you need to do. And so with that technology piece, with the application, making it easy for you to make your payment, another option that's not available is for you to have a record of the payments that you have made so that you can see what you paid the previous time before, or if you need that information for other purposes. Another way that we could streamline making your payments easier is working with the Commissioner of Revenue's office, holding staff trainings together, looking at opportunities where it's duplicative in effort. Sometimes people go to the Commissioner of Revenue thinking that that's what they need to do, waiting in that line and then realizing it's something that they need to go talk to the treasurer about. And so those are ways that we can work together in that office just to save you some time and energy. We also need to just look at the overall website of the treasurer's office and really just enhance that and make that more user-friendly as well. Another thing that I also just want to mention is that, just for a point of clarity, in the treasurer's office, our function is to collect. It is to make sure that the money is reinvested back into community. It is to reconcile. It is to make sure that there's a level of accuracy. We do
Thank
not
you so much,
fundraise
Mrs. Cooper.
at the office.
Mr. Kennedy, what steps will you take to modernize the Treasurer's Office technology to reduce wait times, improve the customer experience, and streamline processes for obtaining licenses and making payments? And are you aware of what current technology is in place and what you would envision to change?
Thank you. Not to reiterate everything that Mrs. Cooper said, there are a lot of ideas and things that we can do in technology. So the first thing I would do, however, when I get into the Treasurer's Office is really talk to the team. We have people in the Treasurer's Office that have been working there 20 and, believe it or not, even 40 years. They know their job and they know how things need to be done within the Treasurer's Office. There are other examples of people trying to integrate technologies, and they didn't work. We were at a forum a few months ago, and someone mentioned that technology is great, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily work. So the first thing I would do is get with my team and see exactly what's been going on and get myself up to speed with the systems and everything that's happening in the Treasurer's Office. And then I will be able to collaborate with our team with all the great ideas that we have in terms of innovating and using technology to find out what the very best solution is for the Treasurer's Office. And then what I'm able to do, as I said before, is hopefully work with City Council to get some of these things implemented, and I'm also able to, if necessary, be able to assist in getting some of these things done so that we don't have to put everything on City Council.
Thank you both so much. So both of you have spoken about your intent to modernize the Treasurer's Office. So my question is, who's going to pay for it? And I'm going to go to you first, Mrs. Cooper.
So any modernization in the office, the taxpayer incurs that cost. And so it's extremely important to be cost effective. The first thing also going into the office, and a conversation that I've already been having with staff, and also, if you did not know, I'm the only candidate that's endorsed by Marty Eubank, is looking at just our reliance on paper. Digitizing some of the functions that we have in the office will also save us funds. Also the application, right? That is a cost that the taxpayers would have to incur, but if that's an option where we're not sending you a bill and we're able to engage with you on the app so that you can pay your bills more seamlessly, as well as with our businesses, that would help. Also, just looking at how we can collaborate with the Commissioner of Revenue's office, right, on some functions where we can save you money in staffing. We have 2 offices, one uptown and one downtown. That may be also another opportunity. And then also streamlining the technology between the 2 offices, looking at our IT folks that can work in both offices, opposed to the treasurer's having an IT person, and then the Commissioner of Revenue's office having an IT person. The community engagement person, is that someone that we could also share in the office to save you some money? And so the first thing that I've done in organizations that I've worked with, you first go in, you do have a conversation with your staff, but you look at where there is excess, right? And where there may be waste. So that we can make sure that we are saving you money as a taxpayer, and then looking at what would be a phased-in plan for us to implement some of the ideas that we're talking about, because we don't want to incur most of that cost in making change in the Treasurer's Office, and that takes away from our schools.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. So, Mr. Kennedy, you have also spoken quite a bit about technology and your intent to modernize the Treasurer's Office. So I will ask you, sir, how will you pay for that?
Well, I think primarily as a business person. So, I know that there are rules and procedures in order to get things done, and I would definitely be happy to follow all the rules and procedures and figure out the perfect legal way to do this. But the reason why I bring up that my wife and I put up over $100,000 of our own money into this campaign is because we have the means to fund these kind of things, to figure out how we can get the money, either through ourselves or through raising money. Now, whichever way is legal and is in proper process, but I do not have to rely on City Council to get things done. I can move things and work and collaborate with them in a proper way. Now, that may be through a foundation, that may be through another, we have to collaborate and think exactly which way to do that, but we can raise the money to get these things done so that it is not a burden on our citizens.
So it's interesting the way that you frame that. As we know, this is a constitutional office, right? And there are codes, there's code. And code, when you're working in this particular environment, mandates and regulates everything. So share with us your experience on understanding what you can do on the basis of code, because what you're sharing,
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure you could do.
Okay, yeah, well, that's why I said I would have to do research to
Okay.
see exactly what the right way that we can do it that's in a legal form. But you have business owners and people that want to see progress in the city. And there are ways that we can get it done. Yeah, they may be innovative. For instance, when we were working with Canon, we had the great opportunity to do interactive training simulations so people could fix copiers from all over the world at the same time. Canon had never done that before. It was an innovative idea. We saved them millions and millions of dollars. Think about it. They used to have to fly people in to learn how to do these things, and then they could do everything online. We need innovative thought here. We need to think outside of the box to fix some of our problems. Yes, we want to do it completely in a legal fashion, and we can come together, and we can do research together, and we can figure these things out. Money is not a problem.
Thank you so much. So, Michelle, if I could ask if anybody has any questions, could you raise your hand and we'll come around with the index card? If you have any questions. Going once? Going twice? I will continue. So, Mrs. Cooper, how will you ensure that the public has a clear and accessible information regarding the performance and structure of the city's investment portfolio?
So we've been sharing our message of the triple E's, and the first one is engagement. And so, again, in my experience over the 14 years, not new to collaborating and convening spaces for community members to share their ideas and their concerns, and for us to share our initiatives and our strategies to solve an issue. We would do the same thing from the Treasurer's Office, and not a one-time when it's time for re-election, and that's when you see us, right? We would hold those on a continuous basis throughout various parts of the city. We would then also look at opportunities to engage you with a newsletter to show you where your money is going in the city, how it's being spent, how the investments are going. Being able to see how your money is working in the city, I think, again, helps people with the engagement piece to not be afraid of the office. Most people pay their taxes out of fear. They don't understand what the Treasurer's Office does. I'm glad that this election is happening because people are learning more about what it does. But I also just want to make a point that my opponent just said money is not a problem to them. We are dealing with families right now that are struggling. We have a government that is shut down and federal employees that have been let go. Money is a problem for folks. And we need a treasurer that's going to be compassionate to that issue and to really speak to their circumstance and be transparent about what's happening in the office and sharing how we can work alongside them to continue to let the city move forward, but also let them see their part in it as well.
Before I go to this question, as Mrs. Cooper kind of mentioned you by name, Mr. Kennedy, would you like to rebut that?
No, ma'am, I think I pretty stated my point clearly.
All right, thank you so much. So, Mr. Kennedy, how will you ensure the public has clear and accessible information regarding the performance and structure of the city's investment portfolio?
Okay. So I'm sorry I have to reiterate some points here, but again, moving into technology, we can engage people better. Having podcasts, having symposiums like this, bringing the ideas to the people using technology, whether that would be a newsletter like Mrs. Cooper is suggesting, or all different kinds of things that we can do. So I think that that's the best way to get the word out, but again, not everybody's into technology. Not everybody's on Facebook. Not everybody is doing that, so we have to be aggressive on both fronts. Like again, I said, when I speak to our seniors, they say that they don't want to be communicated with in terms of technology. They are not as excited about the advances in technology. So we have to have a strong plan for both sides, and that's what I'll do when I'm your city treasurer.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Cooper, how would you balance the need to, wait a minute, I take that back. What is your policy on the use of outside collection agencies or law firms for delinquent taxes? Under what circumstances do you believe it is appropriate for the Treasurer's Office to initiate liens or wage garnishments?
So that's all written out in the code when a person is delinquent at a certain point. I do think that there was an initiative some years back where the sheriffs were used to re-license plates for folks that were trying to evade paying their taxes in the city of Newport News. Talking with the staff and talking to Marty, that was a great way for us to recoup a lot of the funds to make sure that folks are paying their taxes. And so I think that that is appropriate for your folks that are extremely delinquent, that they're trying to avoid the office and not engage in the office. But again, I want to just go back to our triple E's with the education. I think when people understand what their options are with the office and there's a level of engagement and a level of trust, it doesn't feel like it's transactional, that we actually care about the circumstance and the stories behind the bill, it is my hope that we're not going to see higher rates of delinquency. I know that right now things are really tough in the economy, and I want to encourage folks to come talk to us before you get to a delinquency status. Let's look at what your options are with your home, especially as we talk about our seniors, right? They're on a fixed income. So how can we help you to make sure that your taxes are not pricing you out of your home? And that starts with relationship. And again, I'll just go back to my experience. For the last 14 years, I've been working in community and building those relationships with folks. And so I have the experience where people understand that I care about them deeply and their circumstance, and will meet them at the table to ensure that we can move forward and leave no one behind in the city of Newport News.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. Mr. Kennedy, what is your policy on the use of outside collection agencies or law firms for delinquent taxes? Under what circumstances do you believe it is appropriate for the Treasurer's Office to initiate liens or wage garnishments?
So when I was in my early 20s, I just got out of law school and I went into legal services in New Jersey. And one of the things I had to do there was represent people who were being displaced from their homes, people who couldn't afford their rent. And I can tell you that there's nothing, sadder than to see a family of 4 or 5 or little children having to leave their home because they can't afford to pay their rent. So I wouldn't want to do that to anyone. I wouldn't want that kind of thing to happen to anyone. So it would really sadden my heart to have to do that to any of our citizens in this city. But these things are laid out in the code in terms of when we have to do these things. So that's why I'm very, very adamant about community engagement, teaching people so that they can avoid penalties, teaching people so that they can keep their property, and teaching people financial literacy so that they can have a legacy. If you look at how many people here have something that, a true legacy that they can leave when they're gone, how many people, have themselves organized corporately, if you will, how many people have trust agreements, how many people, so I believe that these are the things that our city needs to move forward, and those are things that I'll do when I'm in your city treasurer.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to start with you next, sir. What is your plan to ensure the services of the Treasurer's Office are equally accessible to all residents, including those, oh, the lights went out. Okay. Let me repeat myself. What is your plan to ensure the services of the Treasurer's Office are equally accessible to all residents, including those without internet access, those with limited mobility, and non-English speakers?
Thank you again. This goes into, again, the need to have a stronger approach when it comes to our seniors and other people. There's not a one-prong approach here in terms of how we move forward. Technology is great, and we can see with artificial intelligence and all the things that are happening in technology, we have to jump onto it. But at the same time, it does take an aggressive stance to make sure that none of our citizens get left behind. And that's what I'll do when I'm your city treasurer.
Mrs. Cooper, what is your plan to ensure the services of the Treasurer's Office are equally accessible to all residents, including those without internet access, those with limited mobility, and non-English speakers?
So this scenario sounds all too familiar. So during the pandemic, at Transitions Family Violence Services, we all had to social distance. We couldn't open our doors to folks, and so we had to get innovative in the way that we did that. And so we had to meet survivors in grocery stores. We had to meet them in libraries to ensure that they were still able to get the services that they needed to continue their lives and to be safe and not experience violence. It's the same thing that I think about with the Treasurer's Office. I've been having conversations and knocking on many doors. I talked to a shipyard worker that said, that office closes at 4:30, right? How can you engage me? I'm a third shift worker. That's something that we need to change, right? We need to accommodate the taxpayer. So if we know twice a year we're going to see an influx influx of folks coming in to pay, we need to have later hours, right? We need to be accessible to you. But then more importantly, how do we take the treasurer's office out of just downtown and midtown, right? And bring it to you to make sure that you have the information that you need so that you can ask all the questions or work through all of the issues that you're experiencing with your bill before you have to make that payment. And so we've talked about that in our first E, which is engagement, having pop-ups, where we can educate you on the office, go through your bills, address any concerns that you may have. Another idea also to make sure that it's accessible for those that English is not their first language is making sure that all of our information is available in different languages for folks to be able to have access to it. Another thing that we did at Transitions was engage in a translator line so that when someone is there and we cannot speak their language, that we can dial in and have someone do that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cooper. So, Mr. Kennedy, what are your priorities for hiring, training, and professional development within the Treasurer's Office to ensure your staff is knowledgeable, accurate, and provides respectful customer service? And then I have a second part after you finish that one.
Well, like I said, we have a lot of seasoned people at the Treasurer's Office. Again, people that have been working there 20 and 40 years. So what I would do is first, work with everyone that's already there. We have seasoned people there. And once you're talking to someone that has never been your city treasurer before. So there is a certain period of time that I have to acclimate myself with everything that's going on here in the office. Once I do that, then I can assess where the gaps are, where we need additional staff, and then I can go through the hiring process to make sure that we hire the very best people for those positions. And that's what I'll do when I'm your city treasurer.
So my second part to that question, and it's something that you have mentioned a couple of times, there are people that work in the treasurer's office who've probably worked there 30, 20, 40 years. The past treasurer had been there 30, 40 years. So if you had the opportunity to be elected as treasurer of the city of Newport News, how would you integrate yourself?
Great question, thank you. So that's one of the reasons why I make sure that I get there super early when I'm down at City Hall, because I want to take the time to speak to as many of the treasurer employees as I can, and being able to speak to the employees. And can you reiterate that question one more time?
So what I'm asking is, if you had the opportunity to be treasurer, you would be walking in the door with people who have 40 years more knowledge than you. So how are you going to lead people who know more than you?
And so I talked to a woman that did have 40 years experience, and I also had the opportunity to talk to Marty Eubank several times. Well, not several times, twice. And I spoke to him recently, and he wanted to make sure that, again, a lot of people have called me to make sure that I didn't want to fire people or get people out of the way. And no, if someone has been there for 40 years, I believe that there are some systems in place and they have some knowledge in place that they know what's happening here. And so the best way that I believe that I can serve is in terms of teamwork. I know how to bring teams together to accomplish goals and to accomplish them on time and to rally people together so they can do their best. I'm also good, again, at bringing in new technology. So if I can do those things to complement the people that are already there, I believe that those are the innovative things that are necessary to move the office forward. Now, after I talk to everyone—
Thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy. Mrs. Cooper, what are your priorities for hiring, training, and professional development within the Treasurer's Office to ensure that your staff is knowledgeable, accurate, and provides respectful customer service? And as I did with Mr. Kennedy, I have a second part to that question. Mrs. Cooper.
So the first thing would be talking to the staff, right, and identifying the gaps. Where are we already short-staffed or need to strengthen ourselves as a team to be able to meet the taxpayers' needs? That would be the first piece. And then looking at the budget to see if we could bring on someone part-time, full-time, or make some adjustments with the staff. Again, want to ensure that we are saving you money. Also, it's really important for an organization, doesn't matter how long someone's been there, to always have annual training and reset, level set the office. And so we always want to review the policies as a team, right? We want to make sure that we're interpreting them correctly, that we are implementing them correctly, but then also looking at opportunities on a continuous basis where we can maybe advocate for some change or work with the city or work with our state legislators there. And then as far as professional development, that's sitting down with every staff member, right, and asking them, what do you envision here in the office, and how do you want to be a part of that, right? And making that part of their performance evaluation to ensure that we are creating opportunities for training for them to be able to have the skill set to meet that goal, right? And so we want to continuously have goals for the office, but we want staff to be able to see themselves in that vision and be able to give them the skills and the support that they need. And as far as customer service, it's very rare that you go to Chick-fil-A and you have a bad experience, right? And so I love their customer service model where they know that people are at the center of that. And at the treasurer's office, and I know that they already know this, but reminders are always great to make sure that our taxpayers are at the center of what we do.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. So the second part of my question is, how will you lead employees who know more than you?
So this takes me to an example back when I was working as an advocate, where we had a range of folks, right? People that had been in the movement for 50, 60 years, and then folks that were new in the movement, which I was one of them. And what we did was we took generations, right, of folks, and we created a statewide mentor program where we had those that were the most seasoned helping those that were the newest into the job and letting them know what was expected. And then it was also an opportunity for those that have been doing the work for 50, 60 years to hear the fresh perspective of those that have been in it for 2 to 4 years. If it wasn't for that program, I never would have got the opportunity to then be the executive director of what I think is one of the greatest nonprofits. And so I would want to see something similar there, where we have a mentorship program within the office, but don't limit it just to Newport News. How can we connect with staff and other treasurer offices in the region where they may be doing things that are innovative, where they can create a support system for themselves and bring those ideas to the office, or we may inspire ideas in their office. Mentorship is extremely important. No one knows everything, no matter how long you've been doing it. And so, and right now we're seeing in the workforce, it's multi-generational. So we want to make sure that we're opening up those lines of communication and embracing technology, but also not losing that face-to-face engagement that folks have, right? Because everything doesn't just happen that way. So I think that that's a way that we can make some advancements there.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. Before I move forward on my last question, I want to make sure that I reach out to the audience. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask that they are just compelled to share? If so, Masara Michelle, this gentleman up here. And while this gentleman is writing his question down, I'm going to come to you, Mrs. Cooper. The treasurer is responsible for investing local funds. What is your philosophy for managing the city's portfolio, and how will you balance safety, liquidity, and maximizing the return on investment for taxpayer dollars?
Absolutely. So right now, if you haven't been tuning in, the market is extremely volatile. So I would take a conservative approach. I think that, right now we can't afford to lose any principal investment that we have in the city. We want to be very conservative in what we're looking at. That may be leaning on more bonds than anything. And so looking at how we can have a return on investment, again, right now, the market is very volatile. I would be open to looking into just some of our options. I know cryptocurrency is a big thing that everyone is talking about, but looking into some of those investments as well. But again, taking a conservative approach to ensure that we don't lose any principal on our investments.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kennedy, the treasurer is responsible for investing local funds. What is your philosophy for managing the city's portfolio? How will you balance safety, liquidity, and maximizing the return on investment for taxpayer dollars, sir?
Thank you. So when I'm standing at the polls, people, have a tendency to ask, are you liberal or are you conservative, and what does that mean? Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? And, I wouldn't be able to be retired for 17 years, and my wife and I wouldn't be able to fully fund this campaign if we weren't very conservative with our money, if we weren't very, very cautious with the investments that we have, and how to grow wealth for ourselves and for our family. So I would be taking a very conservative approach in how the city invests, and I would definitely be taking counsel from people who have been before me. This is one of the reasons why Marty Eubank did call me, to make sure that I was open to his counsel, and he said that he would be willing to give it to me, for free. He would consult us if I was able to get into office to make sure that we had everything that we needed to move forward. So that's the kind of thing that I would do. I'm very conservative when it comes to investments, and I would definitely have a collaborative team of very smart people around me to make sure that we were making the very best decisions when it comes to investing our city's funds.
So I want to ask, I'm going to go to Mrs. Cooper. So regarding your knowledge of code, regarding your knowledge of regulatory law, administrative law, how will that help you to be a good treasurer?
So I'm sorry to be repetitive again, but for the past 14 years have been working with our local officials as well as our state officials to identify issues in our community that need to be changed in the code. If you haven't gone to Richmond, some of the process, well, let me just start. If you haven't gone to Richmond, a lot of the bills that you see heard are inspired by issues that we're experiencing every day right here in community. And a part of the process in convincing a committee to move forward with that bill is having someone give testimony to make it clear to the committee how impactful this issue has been and how a new law or change would be for the greater good in a community. And so I've been doing that work for the past 14 years. From the town halls that we would be hosting here in community, would take those issues and those challenges, would work with our counterparts in our city here, as well as our city leadership, to come up with a legislative agenda and priorities, work with the lobbyists that work with our offices, and then go up as a collective unit to ensure that we're seeing change. It's one thing to just have the treasurer's voice. It's another thing when you have city council, you have the commissioner of revenue, and you have constituents that can speak to the impact of that change and what it would mean for the taxpayers here in our city. And so we would go ahead and go do that, and again, have the experience doing that, not something that I've done 5 years ago or 2 decades ago. That is fresh knowledge and experience that I have been implementing right here for the city of Newport News.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. Mr. Kennedy, share with us your knowledge of code and administrative law and how that will help you to be a good treasurer, sir.
Thank you. So this is one of the reasons that I believe that it is important to have someone that has a law degree and that has practiced law for many years. To practice law, you have to read the law. You have to read codes. You have to read all kinds of things like that and be able to understand them, to be able to apply them to the things that are going on in our world. So in taxes, tax law changes all the time. You need someone that understands tax law, that can read the tax laws, and can also read our code. So that's why I believe that the Treasurer's Office is bigger than just understanding finances. The Treasurer's Office is a team of people that are there. It's an organization of a small team of people that needs a proper management and proper leadership. So those are the things that I think are really important about the Treasurer's Office, and I think those are the things that I will be able to excel at. I do have a law degree. I have practiced law for many years, even though I'm not a practicing lawyer now because my wife and I decided to make video games for a living instead of practice law. So I think that those things are important for the city. You need someone that can read the code. You need someone that can apply the code, and I can do that for you when I'm your city treasurer.
Thank you so much. So both of y'all spoke about how you would certainly cultivate and work very well together with the Commissioner of Revenue. Now, let's talk about conflict. Let's talk about if it ain't working. How would you handle that? Mr. Kennedy, I'll come to you first.
So, the legal system isn't about justice, believe it or not. It's about dispute resolution. So one of the things that you learn is how to negotiate and how to find some place in the middle where you can get something done. So I apply that to every situation that I'm in, and I believe that I'll be able to do that in my relationships with my employees. I'll be able to do that with my relationship with City Council, and I'll be able to do that with the Commissioner of the Revenue. So collaboration, listening to both sides, and finding a way to get to yes is what's most important. Not to dig your heels in the ground and just fight. This is our city, and I look at it as a city family, just like I look at a church family as a family. Well, this is our city. We all kind of know each other. Many of us know each other, so we all should want the best for our city. So I believe that, again, having that legal training helps me to negotiate, to talk to people, to listen, and to be able to find the middle ground so that we can move forward together.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Cooper, so as I shared, both of y'all spoke about how you would certainly cultivate the relationship between the Treasurer's Office and the Commissioner of Revenue. But ultimately, in any relationship, there will be conflict. So Mrs. Cooper, what would be your plan on how to manage conflict if it's there, or when it is there?
Absolutely. And so the Treasurer's Office doesn't work in a silo. It works collaboratively with other functions in our city. And we are all working for you. And so I think it's important that when we're sitting at the table, we are not just dealing with this like it's just a transaction, right? We are talking about everyday people's lives, people's businesses, people's dreams, things that they have worked really hard to acquire in this city. And so I think always coming to the table thinking about the taxpayer in mind, that takes personal ego and personal gain out of the conversation, right? We're talking about what is best for our taxpayers and working collaboratively with that. I think also what's really important is to get ahead of it, right? And to always be honest and transparent with each other about what is working and what's not working. You don't want to sit and watch another office or council struggle and just say that's their problem, right? And we're not a part of that. I'm a constitutional officer and I don't have to listen to anyone. We can't have that mindset and that attitude. We have to open up the doors and we have to have conversation about how we can move forward for your best interest, and not only waiting for a conflict, right? Again, I mentioned those government and finance committees were put in place so that we could have continuous conversation and communication about how we can enhance your experience when it relates to dealing with finances as it relates to dealing with finances in the city. And so hopefully we don't get to those points of conflict because we're continuously talking.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cooper. So this will be the last question, and then after this question, I'm going to ask y'all to give your statement as to why they should vote for you. So I'm going to go to you first, Mrs. Cooper. Most seniors cannot afford personal property taxes. Do you have plans to advocate a change in the law to make them exempt or reduce the tax collection rate? And then my question, is that already in effect?
So currently there is a senior relief that's already in place. Again, knocking doors all this year and talking with our seniors, what I call our wise counsel in community, and hearing their concerns. I did start doing some research around some other states that have some innovative and progressive policies that we could look at here. For example, one is looking at the tax rate for seniors that are at a certain income threshold and also at a certain age, and looking at, can we freeze their tax rate for 2-year increments? That allows them to budget, right? Can we put them also on a monthly plan where they can pay their taxes? This allows them to plan for the other unexpected things that come up in their life. They know exactly what their tax rate is going to be from one year to the next before we look at that. Another plan that I looked at was an exemption, a complete exemption for seniors. However, that's only when they have ownership and are occupying that property. Once it transfers hands or it's part of generational legacy or wealth, then that tax rate would be then imposed on the new owner or the new family member. And so those are some of the innovative ideas that we can look at. I make no promises without a cost analysis. That's what a good leader does, to see what would be the financial impact to the city and some of the things that we are doing, and then also a plan on how we can recoup those funds if we are going to make tax relief in one place or the other.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kennedy, most seniors can't afford personal property taxes. Do you have plans to advocate a law change to make them exempt or reduce the tax collection rate, or is there already a plan in place with the City of Newport News?
So, as I mentioned before, this is something that is very near and dear to my heart because a lot of seniors are overassessed. So, in other words, they bought their houses for around $100,000 or something like that, and they're assessed for $300,000 or more, and they can't pay the difference in taxes. So this is something that is really, really near and dear to my heart. And what has to happen, as I said before, is this is something that we have to lobby with the state to get done. So what I can promise you is advocacy. Advocacy, advocacy. And I tell people that I got into this level of public service. I was serving people in other capacities before, but I got into this level of public service because of my wife's cancer. We felt like the hospitals were pushing her around and didn't take a holistic look of her health. She was able to be completely healed of all of her cancer, but it was because of the choices that we made, not because of the advice that we got from the systems that we were in. So that's why I'm not a Democrat, and that's why I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent candidate because I believe that we need to focus on those kind of things, on smart solutions to get things done. And that's what I will do for you when I am your city treasurer. Thank you.
So, if I could, Mr. Kennedy, I would like to just kind of expound upon that because I didn't quite understand your response. I wanted clarity regarding what seniors, they can't afford their personal property taxes. Perhaps I missed something. Would you restate?
Well, yeah, so what I was saying is that we have to lobby the states to get these things done.
Okay.
And that what we need is a true advocate, someone that is really going to fight for us.
Okay.
A lot of people say that they're going to fight for us, and this has nothing, this is just a reality, right? A lot of people say that they're going to fight for us, and we look good here on stage, and we're selling ourselves to you. But how many people are going to actually fight for you? How many people are going to stand up? We had to stand up to the doctors when they told her to get both of her breasts cut off. We had to stand up to the people that told us that they didn't want to take a holistic look at her health. If we didn't put our focus on God, she would not be completely healed. And I believe the similar thing is what we need for this city. So it's not just about saying that I'll be an advocate for you. I will do my very best to make sure that our land is healed, that our people are healed, and that our people have a legacy that they can pass on. That's why I'm doing this.
Thank you so much. So I want to give you a minute. I'm going to start with you first, Mr. Kennedy. Share with the audience and everybody that's watching why they should vote for you, sir.
My name
And
is
you have 1 minute.
My name is Justin Kennedy, running for Newport News City Treasurer. I am a business owner. I have legal experience. I practice law and been in business over 20 years, like 25 years now. My wife and I had a very successful technology company that allowed us the opportunity to be able to retire 17 years ago. In that time, I've been putting my hand to the plow to lift up organizations here, from churches to all different kinds of nonprofit organizations. That's how I've been putting myself to the plow here. I do believe that we need seasoned people in these positions. The reason why I bring up the fact that we have our own resources because I do believe that we need people here that aren't necessarily, I believe we need people here that have their own resources, that know how to protect their treasure and know how to grow their treasure. I believe that is very important for our community, and that's why I'm here to serve. I have a great deal of talent. My wife and I, are here to put our hand to the plow for the entire community, and we are here to serve you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy. Ms. Cooper, would you share with the audience and all that's watching as to why they should vote for you?
Well, first, I just want to thank you for being here and also tuning in. And what I would want to leave you with is, I do agree, you need someone that's going to fight for you. And I've been doing that for the past 14 years. I've been fighting for people that I don't even know. I've been fighting for individuals to ensure that they have safe and healthy lives right here in Newport News, to make sure that they were able to be rehoused and have roofs over their heads and be able to provide for their families. I've been fighting for you, not something that I want to do when I assume this role. This is not about titles. This is not about power. This is about taking the work that I have been doing and putting it into the treasurer's office to help us for such a time as this. And also, I would implore you to please verify the information that you are hearing here tonight. We can have talking points all day, but if you cannot verify some of the experience and the things that you've heard, that is what is most important. We are in a society right now where we have a lot of misinformation. Please verify what you are being heard. And also, I do want to say, experience matters.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cooper. Thank you so much to the both of y'all, and this concludes our portion of the Treasurer Voters Forum, and we will come back in 15 minutes, and then we will bring the candidates for sheriff on the dais. Thank y'all so much. and gentlemen, we have refreshments in the first room when you came into the church. Please avail yourself of them.
Good evening, everybody. We're getting ready to get started. Asking all food and drinks, if you can make sure you have them in the outside areas. We have our greeters outside that will ensure that your food and drinks are in the designated areas. Please, no food and drinks in the sanctuary. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. If I can have you to have a seat, please. We are getting ready to start the sheriff portion of the candidates forum. If I can get you to have a seat, please. I'm going to give y'all 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to 5. I need you to sit down. Everybody? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need you to be close. 11, 12, 13, 14. When I say 15, I need everybody to sit like you playing a game like you were a child. Everybody sit it? Everybody seated? Everybody seated? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd like to welcome our elected official, Vice Mayor Curtis Bethany. Would you stand, sir? Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to visit us here this evening. I appreciate that. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, Michelle has her hand up. Please raise your hand. She will come to you and you can write your question. All right, so keep your hands up because Michelle will be coming to you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to the candidates for the office of Sheriff of the City of Newport News. So we have the incumbent, that is Sheriff Gabe Morgan. We have the other candidate, Mr. Francis Jacobson. Jacobson, is that correct, sir? Thank you so much. Moving forward, I will address both of you as Mr. So I will start with Mr. Jacobson first. Mr. Jacobson, what specific programs or partnerships will you implement or expand to address the mental health and substance abuse needs of the inmate population? How will you work with community health partners to ensure continuity of care upon release?
Thank you so very much for that beautiful question. It's unfortunate that mental health is one of the problems that we face at the Sheriff's Office. And more also, not 70% of our incarcerated citizens, they have mental health problems. One of the things I'm going to be doing is to have proper diagnostic method whereby I can diagnose our incarcerated citizens and to ensure that these individuals, they have the right medication while they are in my custody. How will I be able to do that? I must appoint someone who is in charge of the medical, not a deputy. I will appoint HSA, Health Service Administrator. This is what the Sheriff's Office we do not have. And I'm going to be appointing someone who will oversee these departments. Number 2, I'm going to create a data-driven system whereby these individuals will continue to receive the help that they receive while they were in my custody. More also, when we talk about substance abuse programs, I have talked to CESBs, I've talked to mental health therapists, I've talked to individuals who are willing to partner with me when I become the sheriff.
Thank you so much. Mr. Morgan, what specific programs or partnerships will you implement or expand to address the mental health and substance abuse needs of the inmate population? How will you work with community health partners to ensure continuity of care upon release?
Well, first of all, we currently have MAT program and the MAT grant, and that's medically assisted treatment, and we provide all three kinds of substance maintenance program. We currently work with Suboxone Clinic, Methadone Clinics, the CSB, to provide that level of treatment within the facility. I'll let you know that not all facilities do medically assisted treatment. The other thing is, when we talk about mental health, currently everyone that comes to the jail goes through an assessment. After the assessment, they're further evaluated, if need be, by a mental health professional. When we talk about a health service administrator, we have a doctor, we have a nurse practitioner, and a psychiatrist, actually. So when we talk about treating the inmates for substance abuse and mental health, we have the staff on board to handle that, and they're currently handling it. Do we need more? Absolutely. Funding becomes an issue, and also recruitment becomes an issue.
Thank you so much, sir. So, gentlemen, I would ask that you speak louder. They cannot hear you in the back, if you'd be so kind. So, Mr. Morgan, I'm going to come to you next, sir. What is your strategy for reentry for persons who have been impacted by the justice system to help reduce recidivism?
Currently, we are the only facility that service folks that are not only coming out of our facility, but if you've ever been justice impact and need services, you can come back and receive services. We currently have agreements with the city of Hampton, Newport News, Waterwork, and HRSD to get them meaningful jobs with benefits. The other thing is, we are the only one in the area, and maybe in Virginia, with a housing grant. And currently in 2025, we've assisted 16 returning citizens with housing transition. And as most of you know, that is one of those deltas that it's been hard to crack, and there's not a lot of funding. And with the help of Congressman Scott, we were able to get that funding to the tune of $500,000 to support that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. So, Mr. Jacobson, what is your strategy, sir, for persons who have been impacted by the justice system to provide them with reentry services to help reduce recidivism?
Thank you so very much. Reentry program is one of the challenges that I was able to discover while I was working with the sheriff's office. The high rates of recidivism increased by 32%. And checking the track record of these incarcerated citizens, these were people that never participated in a program. When I came to the sheriff's office in 2023, sheriff's office, we do have 35 programs. And out of the 35 programs, 37 programs are only available to inmates. Inmates are not getting the programs that they need. First of all, I will apply the method of prevention. What that means is I'm going to be organizing programs and projects that will first help the inmates prevent the reason, the essence why they came to the jail. Number two, I'm going to partner with individuals, partner with organizations, religious leaders, organizing programs, socio-economic programs that will help these individuals re-enter the society and become more productive citizens. What that also means, I'm going to initiate vocational skill acquisition programs. This is what these individuals need. As an IT specialist, I want to train these individuals to be computer literate because it's a high-paid skill. You know, when that happens, these individuals can be gainfully employed in our community.
So, Mr. Morgan, would you like to rebut what Mr. Jacobson has stated, sir?
Absolutely. There's a difference between jail and prison. Jail is a short term, and currently the space to do certain levels of training does not exist. That's one of the reasons why we need another facility. We are currently utilizing virtual reality to train mechanic skills because we can do that and get them tested without having space and an actual garage. The other thing that folks should know is that there is absolutely no funding for training at the jail level. Any training that is done either by the money that we put together, or if we are able to get volunteers, and we have 150 volunteers that come in and provide services to the inmates. So we bridge that gap with volunteers and funding that we raise on our own.
All right, Mr. Jacobson, I'm going to give you the last word on this, and then we'll go to the next question. Mr. Jacobson.
All right. Thank you so very much on that. And I am of the opinion that we have the space, we have the resources, we have the partnership, we have communities, people who really want to come into the jail, and offer these resources and offer these services. So what I'm going to be doing is to partner with these individuals, liaise with them, in bringing all of these programs because they are short term. We are talking about jail. You have no more than 12 months to be there. There are skills you can learn within 3 months, within 1 week, within 4 months. So the moment that you are in that jail, it doesn't matter the number of months that you are to be there. There should be a skill, a vocational skill that we can teach you that is approved by DOC or by the community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jacobson. I'm going to ask this question to you now. I appreciate both of you gentlemen. Mr. Jacobson, what improvements do you believe are necessary for the physical facility and day-to-day operations of the Newport News City Jail to ensure a safe and secure environment for both inmates and staff?
Yeah, while I was with the Newport News Sheriff's Department, and one of the complaints that we gave or we complained to the sheriff or to the administrator was the locks. You all heard about the inmates walking out of their cell. It was because of the logs that we complained about was never fixed. And we kept complaining that it's unsafe. Inmates could walk out and hurt us. So my goal is to ensure that we have anti-lock system, okay, that will prevent these incarcerated citizens from walking out of their jail and hurting our staff, my deputies. Number 2 is that the anti-lock system that I'm going to be introducing, we have a sensory alert. What that means is when they try to tamper or manipulate the locks, there will be an alarm. There will be an alert for us to know that this inmate is trying to manipulate the locks. Number 2, I'm going to introduce a de-escalation techniques within the jail system. The use of force is good. Matching force with force is good. But I believe that modern day public safety focuses more on de-escalation techniques other than matching force to force.
You said you're focusing on de-escalation techniques.
Yes, sir.
Is that not already in place in the jail with that particular role as someone, I believe you were a former deputy, is that right, sir?
Exactly, correct.
So what de-escalation techniques are you speaking about that's different from what you already know, sir?
I will give you an example. When an inmate, there is something that we call the magic word in Newport City Jail. Magic word is when an inmate say, "I'm going to kill myself." Okay, immediately an inmate say, "I'm going to kill myself." What we do in Newport City Jail is to use force and put the inmate in a turtle suit or in a restraint chair, instead of using a de-escalation techniques. Okay, by talking to the inmates, having a mental health individual address the concern. To me, as a young sheriff, a prospective sheriff, when someone say, "I'm going to kill myself," what that means is that I need help. It's a cry for help, not to match force with force. It's all about de-escalation techniques that has got to do with verbal escalation before the use of force.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask this question of you, Mr. Morgan. What improvements do you believe are necessary for the physical facility and day-to-day operations of the Newport News City Jail to ensure a safe and secure environment for both the inmates and staff, sir?
We need a new facility.
I beg your pardon?
We need a new facility. For 20 years, I've been advocating for a new facility. When I took over, there were 750 people in a jail that was built for 248. It was the belly of the Amistad. We have worked tirelessly to reduce that population with diversion, with an alternate site, and also, at the time, a regional jail. The regional jail took the sickest, physically and mentally, over to the regional jail because it was a new facility and it had the wherewithal and the space and the milieu to deal with this issue. The regional jail is closed. We have all 200 of those people that were at the regional jail are now in Newport News Jail. We are currently building an infirmary on the first floor. We took part of the entrance and we're building an infirmary for 13 beds. That's all. It's just 13 beds. It's not enough because we have folks that are grossly sick and there is no place to service them. So when we talk about de-escalation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you honoring it because I didn't see it. So, Mr. Jacobson, are you asking to rebut what he shared?
Yes, Ali.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so very much. I'm still of the opinion that we don't need a new jail. Okay, if there is no new jail, you can remodel what we have. And when you remodel, is efficient and cost efficient to the taxpayers. While studying the financial expenditure of the sheriff's account, I discovered that we have invested millions of dollars in unnecessary things in that jail. My goal is to manage the finances that are available in remodeling the jail and not prospecting for a new jail.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, are you asking to rebut or can I go to the next question? All
rebut.
right, you will be the last. That will be the last word on this subject, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Morgan.
With only 8 months experience in the jail, there is no way that you would be able to understand what we need in the jail. There is no recreational area for the inmates to be out of their cell but 1 hour a week in a very small area. Folks, that is no longer the standard. That jail was built off of 1960 designs in the early 70s, and I welcome you to come and take a tour, and you tell me whether or not we need a new facility.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Jacobson, I'm going to ask you this question. What is your policy regarding cooperation with federal immigration authorities, including honoring or refusing ICE detainers, and will you commit to regularly releasing data on this collaboration? And I will have a follow-up question to that as well, because I want you to share with the audience your experience in managing something of that high level. Sir?
Thank you so very much for that question. That's the questions and consign I get from consigned citizens in Newport News and in Virginia. First of all, I would love to say that I don't have 8 months experience. I have more than 8 months experience working in the jail. And what the questions that you asked me about the ICE is a federal agency, and their role is to partner with us in safeguarding, protecting our country, protecting our city, and protecting our state. It behooves me as a sheriff to partner with them as far as it has got to do with safeguarding, protecting the city, protecting the state. However, if what ICE is doing contradicts human rights, violates our Constitution, I'm not going to be a part of it. Because once I become the sheriff, I'm going to take an oath to protect the Constitution of our great country. So if ICE is coming in to partner with me to reduce crime, prevent crime in our city, I'm going to be a part of it. But if it violates human rights, I'm not going to be a part of it. Thank you.
So, Mr. Jacobson, this is the second part of my question. This is a very incendiary, it's just inflammatory issue, ICE. Share with us your experience about managing such a high-level issue and how you would be able to communicate with authorities if indeed ICE is going rogue in the city of Newport News.
All right. Again, I was a jail deputy. is left for the sheriff to release information and to the ICE, is left for the sheriff to partner with the ICE. But let's assume I am in that position. I will definitely let ICE know if it is required of the law when we have an unlawful immigrant who may have committed crime or wanted by the ICE. However, if what they are asking me to do afterwards violates the rights of the incarcerated citizen, I'm not going to be a part of it.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Morgan, what is your policy, sir, regarding cooperation with federal immigration authorities, ICE, including honoring or refusing ICE detainers, and how will you commit to regularly releasing data on this collaboration? And please share your experience in managing a high-level inflammatory issue, sir.
Well, my position with ICE is very simple. If ICE presents a legal warrant, we honor our legal warrant. A warrant is something that's signed by a judicial officer. An ICE detainer is nothing more than a request by ICE to say they're interested in an individual, and it's signed by an immigration officer. There's two different things. In our jurisprudence, we hold people based on a judicial request. So ICE detainers are not a judicial request. When I was the president of the Sheriff's Association, we negotiated a law and got it passed that we can release someone to ICE 5 days before their release date if they had a detainer. That was our effort to say, hey, you need to come and get them before their release date. Because if not, then we're violating their constitutional rights if we hold them beyond their release date on a detainer. So the bottom line is, I recognize warrants. I do not support or address detainers other than you can come get them prior to their release date.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. So, Mr. Morgan, I'm going to come to you with this question. What policies have you or will you put in place to ensure transparency in the Sheriff's Office operations, and how will you handle complaints of misconduct against deputies?
Well, that's real simple. We put out a report every year about things that go on in the Sheriff's Office. We do press releases. We arrest our own. I don't play. I call balls and strikes. We've had deputies that have been arrested for trying to bring drugs in. We've had civilian workers that's been arrested. So at the end of the day, it's about accountability. We have a professional standards division, and their job is to investigate all complaints. Complaints are able to be placed online, and they can call the office directly if they don't want to put it online. Some people walk in and want to make a complaint, and we take them in, and we investigate it.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jacobson, what policies will you put in place to ensure transparency in the Sheriff's Office operations, and how will you handle complaints of misconduct against deputies?
Thank you so very much for that question. Transparency is one of my core values on my campaign trail, being transparent to our community and as a prospective sheriff. Number one is having a town hall meeting, where I'll be able to update or get feedback from the community or from the citizens. Number two is full transparency of finances at the sheriff's office. In as much that the sheriff is the head, I still want to be transparent on how money is being spent, being accountable to the citizens. Hey, this is where your money went to. If that's not okay, I want to hear from the citizens if as a prospective sheriff or as a sheriff, I could change the dynamic of my expenditure. And when it comes to holding deputies accountable, it's very, very important. But however, I will always have a proper review of character of my deputies. What that means, I'm going to be monitoring every report I receive from inmates, from staff, from fellow deputies, from the community about my deputies. And I'm going to be having one-on-one review on their character and initiate programs and projects that will shape them into real and genuine professionalism. Thank you.
Mr. Jacobson, I'm going to ask that you clarify that a little bit. I'm going to reframe my question. What policies would you put in place to ensure transparency? I heard you speaking about character. I heard you speaking about going behind to understand that the deputies and who you hire regarding their character. But as everyone knows, sometimes folks' character don't exactly result in their actions.
That's right.
So I'm going to ask again, if you don't mind, what policies will you put in place to ensure transparency in the Sheriff's Office operations, and how will you handle complaints of misconduct against deputies? If you could be clearer for that, sir.
Thank you so very much. Just to break it down, policy has got to work with code of standards. So my goal is to have great code of standards that my deputies have to align themselves to. So it's just all about having a code of standards for my deputies, if that answers your question.
Do you think it answers my question? That would be the question.
That's right.
All right, thank you so much. So I have another question, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. Jacobson. Do you support measures like ending cash bail for certain offenses or deprioritizing arrests for low-level, nonviolent offenses? And if so, what role will your office play in supporting or opposing such reforms?
Oh, yeah. More also, when we talk about bonds and cash or cash bonds, it has to do with the magistrate. However, my goal would be to have a cross-cultural relationship with the magistrate, with the court, when it comes to that. It's not what, as a prospective sheriff, I'm going to be making the firm decision or have the final say. I'm going to be making sure that the judicial system that I will be working with, we are on the same page.
Okay.
That's right.
So do you support measures like ending cash bail for certain offenses?
It all depends.
Okay, what does it depend on?
It all depends on the level of the offense and the ability for the cash bail.
Okay, so what about deprioritizing arrests for low-level, nonviolent offenses? Do you prioritize them or do you not?
I will say I will prioritize it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to come to you, Mr. Morgan. Do you support measures like ending cash bail for certain offenses or deprioritize arrests for low-level, nonviolent offenses? And if so, what role will your office play in supporting or opposing such reforms?
The short answer is absolutely.
Absolutely to what, sir?
Yes, to
You-
both.
Both?
I am for the elimination of cash bail,
Okay.
okay? And
Do you prioritize arrests for low-level,
I do not.
nonviolent? You said no?
no.
Okay.
So the cash bail piece, I think it was probably 8 years ago,
Yes, sir.
the insurance industry attempted to do away with our community supervision, which is our pretrial services. I personally went, testified, and lobbied to keep pretrial, and we were able to win that by 1 vote. And that was because not everyone can afford a bail. And there are two reasons that you should be denied bail. One, a flight risk. Two, that you're a danger to the community. And if you're not a flight risk and you're not a danger to the community, you should be able to go out on bond. And community corrections is one way to do it. If not, only the rich will be able to go outside after they've committed crimes. So, or been accused of committing a crime. So at the end of the day,
Thank
yes.
you so much, Mr. Morgan. So I'm going to go to you, Mr. Morgan. If reelected, what would be the first 3 areas where you would allocate new resources or the first 3 programs you would look to streamline or cut?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I can't cut anything right now. We're already operating at the bones. We have currently 44 people that are over the age of 60, with the oldest being one at 79. We have best guess today, 175 or so people with serious mental illness. They all need treatment. The fact that the regional jail closed and we now have those folks in our facility, there is a requirement constitutionally to address that. So at the end of the day, we need expanded mental health. We need an expanded treatment facility because we have people, just this week, we brought in 3 with gunshot wounds. We have to treat them, and we treat them within the facility. You know, folks talk about a lot of things external, but the jail is a city unto itself. And that's not even including the conduct of the courts, extradition, service of papers, and all those other things.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, if elected, what would be the first 3 areas where you would allocate new resources or the first 3 programs you would look to streamline or cut?
Thank you so very much for that question. As a former deputy sheriff for the city of Newport News, one area I'm going to be focusing or directing our finances will be in mental health. Okay, my goal will be to have a therapeutic ward because I will still say it. We have the space. It's just all about knowing how to remodel it and create the space from what we have. I have taken a good, careful look at that jail. We have that space. So I'm going to be using our finances first in recreating a therapeutic ward for our incarcerated citizens to enable one-on-one section with them and group section as well. Number 2 is to ensure that the technology that is required to lessen the burdens that my deputies do have, they are in place. I will give you an example. Our inmates, they used to wear a wristband, and those wristbands ought to be scannable. So the app I am building is to scan the wristband and be able to transmit information to the relatives of those inmates for them to be well assured that their inmates that their relatives are well taken care of in that process. Finally, is to engage my deputies in more de-escalation trainings, because in de-escalation trainings we will make our jail more safer.
Thank you so much. And now I'm going to go. Would you like to rebut, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I come back to the issue of space. On one hand, my opponents speak about creating programs and creating this mental health ward. There is no place to create a mental health ward in the current facility. There is a thing called classification, okay? We classify everyone that comes into the facility based on a number of characteristics. And based on that is where they can be housed. There are very few places where we can create space because we have a multitude of gang members, keep separate, folks that if we bring them together, there's going to be a murder, an assault, or something of that nature. There is more. A bed is not a bed. A space is not a space. They have to be classified and housed so that we minimize injury to the inmates and we maximize safety for the facility. That's paramount. And there is absolutely no space for that based on the fact that we have almost 700 people in a jail built for 300.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, I'm going to ask you to rebut, and that will be the last word. We'll move on to the next question, sir.
Thank you. It's just all about vision. All right, as a visionary leader, give me the opportunity, and I will create that space. You know, we are bringing in professionals, creating a space, areas that are not relevant in that jail. When you go to that jail, they are creating spaces, creating spaces in the lobby, creating spaces for things I feel are not necessary. Give me that opportunity, and I will create that space. I will create that space with high professionals that knows how to create space in a smaller unit. It's just all about having the vision and prioritizing, the therapeutic ward for our incarcerated citizens.
Thank you so much. So, fiscal management for the sheriff's office is critical. I'm sure it's millions and millions of dollars. I'm uncertain as to how many millions, but I'm sure it's in the millions, right? So, Mr. Jacobson, how will you manage the sheriff's office budget to maximize efficiency and taxpayer value while meeting the critical needs of the jail and court system? And share with the audience your experience in managing budgets of that size, sir.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much for that question. And for your information, I have a company, and my company, we manage hundreds of thousands of accounts of individuals, all right? And these individuals, they come to my office for loans, and more also, I have worked with the UN, where we were allotted millions of dollars for over 10 years, and the goal was to train our citizens in the area of computer IT-related courses. What I will do is I'm going to be a team player that I have always been. I'm going to have financial analysts, people who can help me with the planning and with the budget. I'm going to ensure that our resources are channeled in the right direction based on priority. So my experience working with the UN on Millennium Development Goals objectives, having received millions of funds in Nigerian currency, has broadened my understanding in financial management and financial literacy. And when you watch my campaign, we have not raised so much funds, but we've been able to do so much with the little finances that we have. It's all about financial literacy and management, and that I have.
Mr. Morgan, how will you manage the sheriff's office budget to maximize efficiency and taxpayer value while meeting the critical needs of the jail and court system, sir?
For the last 20 years, I've done just that. We get audited by the city, we get audited by the auditor of public accounts, and at the end of the day, we have always had an unqualified audit. I have never gone over on my budget that I'm allocated. There are times when I come pretty close, but I've never gone over on my budget. And when you talk about managing money, don't take my word for it. There's a Daily Press article in the back that's sitting on my table. We attempted to verify my opponent's claims, and the paper was unable to verify those claims of having this company that's doing those things. And, listen, it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to do it. And I've been doing it. And prior to that, I managed the log cab contract, which, if you were in the military, that's a logistic augmentation contract. And anytime the military deployed, we deployed civilian assets to go and support the military. I have a proven track record of 40 years of managing budgets.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, would you like to rebut, sir?
Yes, my opponents had to bring about my company in my country, in Africa, Nigeria, and here is the true certification of the registration.
Thank you.
Yeah, and those of you who are online, the registration number is ROC space 1685566. And again, is that my company, based on my knowledge on security, what we did was to develop identifier UR, which means when you purchase our devices, point-on-sale devices. We create an identifier.
So, excuse me, Mr. Jacobson, are you rebutting his allegation regarding the validity of your company, sir?
Exactly.
So you've already shared that.
Okay.
Did you want to go into more details regarding your experience in managing budgets of this size? Did
Of
you
course.
want to rebut that, sir?
Of course, I have already expanded on that.
Okay.
You know, yeah, my company, we manage millions of naira. You know, that's Nigerian currency.
Thank you.
Of people who are my customers. You know,
Yes, sir.
we based on CBN regulation, we manage the funds, and we don't have any record of having someone's money being stolen or having mismanagement of funds.
Okay.
I have that good track record, and our clientele keeps increasing day by day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I would like to ask, and this is near and dear to my heart because the community is near and dear to my heart. So Mr. Jacobson, I'm going to go to you first, and I want to ask, how will you engage with the various neighborhoods and communities in Newport News to understand their public safety concerns and build trust in the sheriff's office, sir?
Beautiful. As a candidate for sheriff, we've knocked thousands of doors. And if I'm able to knock thousands of doors, it means I can still knock thousands of doors here in the hearts and the concerns of our citizens. So what I'm going to be doing is to continue the things that I did that brought me to the office, and not relent because I'm not campaigning or probably running for office. Number two is to improve one-on-one community neighborhood town hall meetings, because it's very, very important and crucial to building trust within the law enforcement and our community. And then again is that I'm going to be, I have shared it again and again. I have an app, a community app. What that app does that is going to bring every citizen of Newport News together, and where they are going to be hearing me talk to them live, where they can have a live chat with me at all times, or with my deputies, where they can share their concerns and be able to get prompt and quick feedback, because that's what the citizens they need at this time. Thank you.
So, sir, you were speaking about that's an innovation that you would like to add.
Exactly.
If you had the opportunity to serve
Thank
as
you.
sheriff, is a community app. Is that correct, sir?
Exactly correct.
Thank you so much.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
that. So, Mr. Morgan, how will you engage with the various neighborhoods and communities in Newport News to understand their public safety concerns and build trust in the sheriff's office, sir?
Currently, we have been in every aspect of the city, and rather than creating your own town hall, we attend those that are already hosted by city council members, and we go to those and we answer questions, and we're available. So, you know, the capacity to continue to create your own sounds good, but there's only a certain amount of bandwidth, and attending and collaborating with council members and other city officials is the best way, because we get more bang for the buck and we're more efficient.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, would you like to rebut, sir?
Yes, thank you so very much. The council, partnering with the council, having relationship with them is very amazing. I have participated in council meetings. I have heard the concerns of the citizens. But I want us to know that the sheriff's office is a separate entity. Oftentimes, the people want to speak to the sheriff directly. The people want to have a sheriff town hall meeting where they can address sheriff's issues that has got to do with public safety. So doing things with the council is good. I'm going to be involved in that. But I need to make sure that I have my own personal town hall meeting where I can engage the citizens on issues relating to the sheriff's office. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, did you want to rebut?
The only thing I'm going to say to that is
And you'll have the last word, sir.
I'll pass.
Okay. So, Mr. Morgan, what is your plan to recruit and retain qualified deputies for the Newport News City Jail, given the competitive nature of public safety employment, sir?
It is a beast out here. I'm just going to tell you right now, everyone in law enforcement is struggling because we are all have the same requirements, and quite frankly, there are a lot of people that do not want to go into law enforcement profession at this time. We currently do text to apply. We do informational meetings. We are offering a bonus. We're looking to try to increase that bonus, and we're working to ensure our pay stay competitive. We just had a pay scale implemented in January that gave the deputies a significant increase, and it also rewarded the personnel that have been in the agency for a long time, and they were being crushed by compression, where we would raise the entry-level salary to try to compete, and the folks in the middle, they were getting crushed. So that addressed a lot of that, and now we are looking to readdress the pay because it is extremely competitive out there right now. And it's not just law enforcement, it's everything. I have nurses, and I'll tell you, we pay at the 75 percentile for nursing RNs, and we still struggle.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, what is your plan to recruit and retain qualified deputies for the Newport News City Jail, given the competitive nature of public safety employment, sir?
Thank you so very much. This is where my strength comes in. This is where my strength comes in. And being on this campaign trail, I have been able to raise hundreds of volunteers working on my campaign trail. If I blow a whistle right now, 100 of them are going to come out and march for me. And I disagree with my opponents that people don't want to work, in law enforcement agency. I am of a great opinion. I have seen people who are willing to work for this community. Young people who are willing to serve Newport News. Young people who want to align their goals with the goals of the city. I have seen them. They are eager. All that they are asking for is a young sheriff that will serve as a role model to them and give them the right footstep for them to follow. So, and recruitment will not be my challenge. I keep saying it. I have said it again and again. It will not be my challenge. There are people who are available and willing to work for our community. And what that also means is that while they are working for the sheriff's office, they are going to be partnering with our police department to ensure public safety. Because I know that Chief Drew is having the same issue, shortage of staff. My goal is to have my deputies partner with them, have their officers partner with me, so that we can make Newport News a safe place for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Morgan, did you want to rebut, sir?
Yes, when he talks about partnering with the police department, we're already doing that. The Rich Neck school shooting, the first people that responded were deputies. We're there. We operate in a symbiotic relationship, but we have distinct roles, and we work seamlessly together. And, we can talk about what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you what we're doing, and that's what we're doing. We're working. My officers are making arrests just last week. We came across someone who was deceased in one of our normal duties. We handle temporary detention orders, which frees the police department up to police the city, and we transport them 5 hours away. We currently, if someone dies in Newport News, I'm responsible for taking custody and control of that body and disposing of the body. That was changed from the sheriff's office to the police department. I still do that. So at the end of the day, 9 months out of the academy does not give you enough experience to understand all the functions of this office.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jacobson, would you like to rebut? If so, sir, you will be the last comment.
Quickly, I have had conversations. I'm not trying to throw the police officers under the bus if they are watching me. One of the questions that they keep asking me, you can verify, they keep asking me, are you going to partner with us? Are you going to form a team with us in making Newport News a safe place? So I don't know how far the sheriff department are partnering with them, like what Sheriff Morgan has said. But this is the question and concern I get from the police officers. They keep asking me, we want to support you, but if we do, are you going to partner with us? And they have shared with me areas that they want me to partner with them. and I'm going to do so, for the safety of Newport News. Thank you.
Mr. Jacobson, this leads into my next question. The Sheriff's Office is distinct from the Newport News Police Department. How will you ensure effective collaboration with the Newport News Police Department on issues like gun violence reduction and outstanding warrants, especially since the Newport News Police Department has focused strategies like Operation Bold Blue Line?
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that question. Just to put it out there again, what the police can do, the sheriff can do. And what the sheriff can do, the police cannot do. What are the things that the sheriff does? Civil enforcement, evictions, and all of that. However, the things that the police, what they do has to do with public safety. Example, patrol, investigations, arrests, whatever it is. We can also do that. But my goal is to create a systematic system of collaboration coming on one page to ensure that my strength as a prospective sheriff marries with the strength of the police department, and their weakness as well marries with my strength. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Morgan, the Sheriff's Office is distinct from the Newport News Police Department. How will you ensure effective collaboration with the Newport News Police Department on issues like gun violence reduction and outstanding warrants, especially since the Newport News Police Department has focused strategies like Operation Bold Blue Line?
I collaborate with the police department on every account. The chief and I meet regularly. I have people on the ATF task force, the DEA task force. I co-authored the strategy that's being used right now by the city, the PEER, prevention, intervention, enforcement, and reentry. They're still utilizing that model, and that was something that I co-authored. So when you talk about that, I sit on the Public Safety Council. We sit there and we collaborate on all matters public safety. The other thing is when the police department is going to do an operation, we're fully read in, and we read them in when we have other things going on. We sat down with ICE. You don't see ICE in our courthouse. You don't see ICE running around going crazy in our city. And that's because we sat down and we had a collaboration and we talked about how we're going to conduct business in this city. And it was myself, the chief, and the head of ICE in this area. And at the end of the day, it's working. I told you, my deputies were the first ones at that shooting at Rich Neck. They respond. They are out there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, would you like to rebut what Mr. Morgan has said?
Yes, I will encourage everyone listening to me to go and do their due diligence. The dynamic of relationship and I will not say unity between the sheriff's operation or partnership with the police department is somewhat somehow broken. But my goal is to introduce fresh idea that will enhance the relationship that the sheriff's office we do have with the police department. Thank you.
So, gentlemen, both of you have opposing views on the current jail. Mr. Morgan, you state that you would like to see a new jail. And Mr. Jacobson, you state that we do not need a new jail.
Correct.
So I'm going to go to Mr. Morgan first so he can express why he feels that we need a new jail and something that you have been advocating for, as you stated, for over a decade. Would you explain to the audience and all that is watching why a new jail is needed?
First of all, the jail is designed 7 stories high. The jail was never designed to be a jail that was 7 stories high. The jail only existed from the 4th floor up. The police department had everything from the 3rd floor down, and the magistrate was downstairs on the 1st floor. So if you can think about how that was designed when the building was built, now the jail takes up all 7 floors. The magistrate is out of the building. The police department have a brand new facility, and guess what? We have not one window in that building. You cannot build a facility today that does not allow sunlight in. There is no place to have recreational movement except out in the yard, and the yard, There's a pen that's about the size of this section, and it's split into 3. Folks can only go out there for 1 hour a week, and there are no windows in the building. Folks, that's inhumane. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, treatment facilities, my old office had to be expanded to be able to handle medical. I just told you we're building a infirmary on the first floor for only 13.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, you had shared that we do not need a new jail. You have also stated that we have a beautiful jail and that you would want to conduct more rehabilitative programs within the jail. Be specific about where you would conduct these programs and how you would fund them.
Very, very beautiful question. Thank you so very much. And first of all, let me say this: if for over 20 years you've been asking for something and it's not given to you, it means that you have to change, the dynamic of your request. So if I'm asking something for over 20 years and it's not given to me, I should be able to be innovative, okay, to make use of what I have. It is called Midas touch, ability to turn wood into gold. Again, this is where I come in, all right? I have architects working on my team. We have analyzed that jail. That jail could be remodeled. I keep saying it. Councilmen are here. I won't ask you for new jail. I'm going to ask for a remodeling, partnership to make that happen. Number 1, I have partnered with startups in IT, fintech industry, where we were able to write grants. So my goal is to hire professional grant writers. If I need to raise money to build a new jail, that's one thing I'm going to be doing. Number 2, I'm going to be talking to our concerned citizens. If that's what I want to do, for partnership and for crowdfunding. So funding for the new jail will not actually be the biggest challenge. I understand the challenge, the challenges of raising that funds, but however, that's not going to be one of my biggest challenges. The fundings are going to come from the right.
Thank you so much,
funders.
Mr. Jacobson.
Rebuttal.
You want to have a rebuttal? Okay, go ahead, sir.
We lobbied for and got what used to be the old juvenile detention facility, and we turned that into a jail annex. That building was never designed to be a jail. You read about escapes. You read about different incidents in that building, and that building is not designed to be a jail. And when that building was given to us, and oh, by the way, I operate the facility. I don't own it, and I don't fund that building. The city does, and so it's up to the city to do it. That building was given to us, and it was temporary. It's been temporary now for 16 years. The mayor came, he did a tour, he saw it. He saw the conditions. We are currently working on what we need to do to ensure that we have a humane, constitutional facility to house the people in this community. However, it goes up against schools, it goes up against road projects, it goes up against everything else that goes on in the city because there's only a limited amount of money. So at the end of the day, that is a council decision. And all I can do is continue to raise the issue and build a case.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Jacobson, would you like to rebut?
Yes, ma'am. Quickly, the prison system, the jail system is a money-making system, okay? And I'm of the great opinion that if the councilman, the city, didn't see the need for a new jail, that means there is something that they are seeing that the current sheriff is not actually seeing, and that is innovation. That is innovative ideas. That is bringing in professionals that can look into. When you go to our city hall, it's the same building, beautiful outside. But when you walk in, it's beautiful inside. That means they took time to remodel that building, and it looks so amazing. If they can do the same thing with that building, how about the jail?
Thank you so much. Mr. Morgan, would you like? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time, and this time I want to give y'all a minute to share with the audience as to why they should vote for you. And I'm going to, who did I start with? Did I start with you, Mr. Morgan? I done forgot. Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Mr. Morgan. You have 1 minute to share with the audience and all that's watching as to why they should re-elect you for sheriff, sir.
Once again,
Thank you so much.
Once again, I bring 49 years of experience at the federal, state, and local enforcement. For nearly 2 decades, I have led the Sheriff's Office with integrity, focusing on reentry services, mental health treatment, substance use recovery, and officer wellness and compensation. Under my leadership, we have earned, maintained accreditation from 3 major bodies: the Virginia Board of Local and Regional Jails, National Commission on Correctional Health Care, and the Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission. Just last week, on October 9th, we were reaccredited, and on October 14th and 15th, we received 100% pass score from the Virginia Board of Local and Regional Jail. Clear proof that accountability and transparency work. Strong leadership delivers real results. Experience matter. On June
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Jacobson, please let the audience and all that's watching watching you, share with them why they should elect you for sheriff, and you have 1 minute.
Come on, Newport News. We are in for a new dispensation, and that dispensation is a dispensation where innovation thrive. Sheriff Morgan has done an amazing job. He's sat on different boards, and he has laid good footprints for our community. The life of Sheriff Morgan is like the life of Moses, who brought the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt. And it will only take Joshua to take them to the promised land. And my name is Joshua. I am that candidate that will take Newport News to the new phase of leadership. And if you vote for me, your vote is not just for me, it's for your children who are watching us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate your time and your service. That concludes our portion of the Sheriff's Candidates Forum. I would like to bring up Pastor Dr. Johnson. I can't see him. Okay, thank you. In the interim, I'm going to bring up my president of Newport News Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, Quanda Griffin.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to Reverend Johnson and the family from Zion Baptist Church for their hospitality. Thank you to all of the candidates who have joined us: Sanu Cooper, Justin Kennedy, Francois Jacobson, and Gabe Morgan. We also want to thank the members of the Newport News Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, as well as the members of Alpha Alpha Chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity for their support tonight. We hope that you have gained insight from the candidates and their plans and how they will impact the city of Newport News. We ask that you would cast your vote, as this is your voice to impact policies for Newport News. I will now turn it over to Reverend Dr. Johnson, and he will close us out with prayer.
Thank you so much. Let us stand. You've been sitting for a good little while. Thank all of you for coming out tonight. Thank you, Delta Sigma Theta, for partnering with us. Thank you to the candidates who have given their all tonight in speaking on their behalf and their platforms. And as we pray tonight for safety as we leave this place, but not from the presence of the Lord, and make it home safely. Thank you all for being here tonight. Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you for this covering of information tonight. We thank you for allowing us to be in this place, this space, this sanctuary, that we may hear the platform of those who will represent us. We thank you, O God, for voices heard. Thank you, O God, that we can still hear, still disagree, but still live in unity for the best of our community. We thank you, O God, for protection as we get to our various homes. Keep us, direct us, lead us, and guide us. Thank you for this community, and we pray for it daily, and pray that you will continue to watch over us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Everybody have a great night. Good seeing you tonight.